Morning. I hope my audio is visible, audible, like my volume is okay. So let's start for the day. We are kind of late for the day, so we'll quickly start with the analysis part, starting with Nifty. So you can clearly see here that Nifty is having an indecision in the market with respect to the price action. If we see the price action, you can clearly see in this one-day time frame candle that a market indecision is there. It is due to the segmental wise difference. So if you see in the metal segment, it is gradually gaining up the pace. While if you see the IT segment and consumption, so it is dragging the market down. So with respect to today's pivot level, we will mark the various zones, bullish, bearish, and sideways zones. So let's quickly start with the pivot and the support levels. So Nifty, you can see previous day it again reclaimed the 26,000 level and above, and it couldn't sustain above. Well, profit booking was witnessed yesterday, and it closed nearly at 25,930 36 levels. So with respect to yesterday's levels and closing low and high, we will plot today's pivot level. So today's pivot level lies at 26, 25, 930, almost 930. We will mark it as 930 only. So we will quickly go to the support. S1 for today lies at 25, 800 to 850 level. 25, 800 to 850 level. It is the S1 where support 1 lies. And S2 lies nearly at 25, 700 and followed by S3 25 580. Let's mark it as 550 only. So now we will move on to the resistance part. Resistance is still at 26 followed by 26 150 160, we can say 160 will be the second resistance. We'll mark it R2 will be at 26 160, and we will go for the R3 lies at 26 280 300 level. 26 300 level. These are the levels for today's with respect to the pivot line, pivot point actually. So with respect to this, we will zone Nifty out for the day. So here you can see in the previous lives we have explained about the symmetrical pattern, symmetrical triangle pattern, and we clearly got the breakout from here with the bullish sentiments with high volume, and it has reclaimed the 26,000 level. So with respect to this, we will mark today's zone 4. So let's mark the bullish zone first. Bullish zone. So I always consider R2 and R3 to be the bullish zones, because after claiming and or sustaining above the pivot level, it will obviously ride up to the R2, and if it sustain about that level, then it will go to the bullish zone, which is 26 160 to 26 280 300. Let's keep it 26 300 only. These are the two bullish zone for Nifty if it sustain above the pivot line and ride up to R1, which is 26 and 050. If it is sustaining about that particular level, definitely these zones are going to be tested. And let's mark quickly the levels for sideways view. What if Nifty remains in a consolidated sideways way? So let's mark that out. It is always in between S1 and R1. So let's mark it out. S1 will be at 25,800. We have a higher range here, more than 200 point. We can see 26,050 will be the R1. So let's mark the pivot line also. Pivot line was at 25,930. So if you see, it is still above, the closing is still above the pivot line. So if it is sustaining above this level, definitely we can see a short bullish term in Nifty, reclaiming the previous highs, which was at 20, this level at first, and then to the all-time high, which is at 26,277, 300 level. So this is the consolidated or sideways level. If Nifty remains consolidated, let's zone out the bearish view of Nifty. If any breakdown below the S1, which is at 25,850, 850 to 25,700. It's market as 800 as it is overlapping. So these are the three zones for Nifty with respect to the pivot point. So you can see the yellow line is pivot point. So Nifty actually closed and it is trading above the pivot level. So if it is sustaining this above this level with the same volume in the market, it is definitely going to ride up to the R1, which is at 26,050. And if it is sustaining above that particular level with a similar volume, then definitely it is going to test the zones at R2 and R3, which is at 26,160 and 26,280, 300 level. So let's have a quick look at what RSI say, Relative Strength Index. So in 1 day time frame, you can clearly see that it is trading near to the overbought zone. So a possible reversal can be there, retesting the 25,800 levels back again, then can bounce back to the bullish short-term bullish view again. So RSI shows shows the Nifty is in overbought zone in 1 day time frame. So a possible reversal will be there if IT segment and consumption segment drags Nifty down. So these are the levels for Nifty for the day with respect to the pivot line. So let's quickly move on to Bank Nifty level. Nifty Bank. Bank Nifty, PSU banking sectors are kind of having a very bullish trend like for the previous days. So again, it's gonna continue until it leads to a profit booking stage. So with respect to Bank Nifty, so it closed positive yesterday at 58, 250 to 220 levels. So with respect to this, let's plot the pivot point. Bank Nifty's pivot point is at 58,100. This will be the Bank Nifty's pivot point. And with respect to that, support one lies at 57, 890, 900 we can say. S2 is at 57, 550 and S3 is at 58, 57, 57, 350. So these are the three support levels for Bank Nifty. So let's quickly move on to the resistance part. R1 will be at 58,400 and R2 will be at 58,650. 58,650 will be the resistance 2 and R3 will be 58,400. 950. So these are the levels with respect to the pivot point for the day for Bank Nifty. So let's mark the pivot point here and sound this Bank Nifty out. 58,100 is the pivot level. So you can clearly see in the chart that it is trading above the pivot level, which indicates a bullish trend continuation. So if it is sustaining above this level, definitely our zones are going to be testing. So this is pivot line. Yes. 58,100. So with respect to the pivot, let's zone this out. So any move and market sustaining above the pivot line, it will definitely lead to the R2 and R2 if the volume supports. So we will mark the zones out. 58,650 to 58,950 is the bullish zone for Bank Nifty. So any move above the pivot point with a higher volume, first it's going to test the R1 and with similar trend, so similar volume, it is definitely going to push to the bullish zone if this continues. So R1, let's change the color to yellow. So this is the bullish zone. Let's mark the sideways zone. What if Bank Nifty stays sideways? So it is always between S1 and R1 with respect to the pivot line. 58,400. So this will be the sideways zone. Let's quickly mark the bearish pattern as well. So any move below the support one, which is at 57,900, can lead. We can target up to S2 and S3 with respect to the volume in the downtrend. So these are the levels for Bank Nifty and the zones for Bank Nifty. So it is already trading above the pivot line, which is at 58,100. So if it is sustaining above with the similar volume, and PSU banks, as we know that it is currently trading and having a bullish trend, supporting Bank Nifty very much, pulling it up. So a positive move in Bank Nifty, I expected positive move. So we can easily ride up to R1, and if it is sustaining above this level with the similar volume, with the same volume and strength in volume, it is definitely gonna test this R2 and R3, which we marked as the bullish zone. So if you see in the RSI also, it is nearly at overbought zone. So be cautious while trading in Bank Nifty. Manager is properly in this while trading today. So let's move on to the Sensex level. Sensex also similar, mirroring the Nifty. It is showing similar pattern with respect to Nifty. So, but slightly it ended in positive for yesterday. So closing nearly 84,620. Negative closing only. It's closed nearly 84,630 level. So with respect to this, we will mark the pivot line. We will mark the zones first. It is at 84,600, 620 level. So the pivot point lies for the day. It is at 84,620. Let's mark S1, which is at 84,250 will be the S1, and S2 will be at 83,850. And S3 will be at 83,400. 470, 450. These are the support level. Resistance will be at R1 at 85,000 and R2 will be at 85, 350, 300 level. Let's mark it at 85, 350 and R3 will be at 85, 700, 750. These are the support and resistance for the day with respect to pivot point. Let's mark the pivot point first. 84, 620. So let's mark the bullish zone. As I say, it is always the R2, R2 and 85,000. R2 and R3 will be considered as the bullish zone. 85, 350 followed by 85, 700. So this will be the bullish zone if Sensex is staying above this particular level, above the pivot point with a volume strength, then definitely it will have a positive move towards the bullish zone, which lies at 85 350 range and 85 700 range. So if what if Sensex remains sideways, let's zone that out also. So it will be between S1 and the R1. So S1 lies at 84 250. So in success we have a higher range and the R1 is at 85,000. So let's mark R1 as well, 85,000. Let's mark the bearish zone. It will be between any move below our support one. Support one is at 84 250 and support 2 is at 83 850. So these are the three zones for Sensex. So any sustainable movement above the pivot line with a higher volume will lead to the R1 first, and with the same volume strength in the market, it will lead to the bullish zone, which lies at 85 350 and 85 700 levels. So these are the levels for Sensex and Bank Nifty and Nifty as well. So we clearly see that we have a gap up also. So it clearly sees that the market is opening above the pivot line. For the present day, it is opening above the pivot line. If it is sustaining above this level with a higher volume, definitely it is going to test on the R1 first and followed by the R2 and R3 if volume support. So if we need to focus on the metal and IT consumption sectors. If it is backing Nifty, then definitely the bullish trend is going to be will be continuing. So let's have a quick look at FIA data. So yesterday clearly we can see that both the FIA and DNA institutional traders having a very good positive impact in the cash market. So let's quickly have a view at the FIA sensible data where we can see the FNO part of. So, but if we see in the FNO side, FIA is clearly net bearish. So we should have a caution with respect to the opening. So even if it is opening on the higher level, the chances are there it can bounce a little bit down. Then only the bullish continuation will be there. So Just be cautious with this. So FIA is net bearish. So let's have a quick look at where GIFT Nifty is trading. So GIFT Nifty is also positive, but be cautious with this. The market is opening a little bit higher. So if volume backs and if it stays above this pivot point and sustaining, then definitely the bullish short-term bullish view is on. But be cautious, major. There is an indecision in the market with respect to, if you can see it clearly in this one-day candle, indecision is there. So be cautious today. So manage your risk properly. These are the levels for the Nifty today. So let's wind up for the day. So let's catch up tomorrow morning with our pre-market analysis. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I just